Hey guys, it's me, EODGamer here, and we're back with another Honkai Star Rail video 3 days away from official launch, and let's do a reroll strategy guide. We're going to be talking not only about accounts that you can keep, as you can see here, I already have it in the background, but we're also going to talk a bit about administration and stuff that you can do right now to prepare to make your transition over to official launch much more smooth. For those of you who are very new to rerolling, in Genshin Impact, in Honkai Star Rail or Hoyoverse rather, you are able to unlink your email addresses for your Hoyo Lab account. So when you create an account, you're actually creating both using an email, you create a Hoyo Lab account, and you can then unlink it later on. So for whatever reason, maybe you need to transfer email, you can do it later on. What this means, right, is you need to understand this concept or this reroll strategy. In most gacha games, there's this logic of called sorting emails. So a lot of the other games have it. For example, you have this sample here and you'll plus like 1, 2, 3 at the back, and you can like plus 4, 5, 6. What this means is you can just have one email. For example, if let's say your email is sample@gmail.com, you can just, for other games, you can just like, for example, +1 at the back and stuff, and you'll all be considered a unique email address when you're rerolling your account. What this means, you just need one email, but in Hoyo Lab's case, it's a bit different. So in Hoyo Lab's case, as you can see here, I already prepared it. You can sort your emails, quote unquote, by having one default email. Maybe you have it as sample@gmail.com. Your next one is going to have a dot beside the S, and it's going to be like s.ample@gmail.com, for example. And when you do that, right, the emails that you send for like verification code will be sent to the same email address. This is important because a lot of you that are trying other methods probably won't get it right, and this is how you actually reroll accounts for Hoyo Lab specific. It works for Genshin Impact, and I've already created some of my own personal reroll accounts to prepare for Honkai Star Rail once it comes official launch. So go and make one email address. It's very quick, link it up, and you can easily do this sorting email method to create like 10's account. So what I will do is I won't just log in, reroll, and then discard the account completely. What I actually prefer to do is I will actually be making this kind of Excel table. For example, you can just go to a free Google Sheets. You can just put in a template like your different accounts, and as you are rerolling, make sure you keep the email address that you have and also what pools you are getting. The reason why you want to keep a database for this, right, it becomes much more efficient for you, because don't forget, you won't get all your pools in the first setting. Let me just show you. So we have this reward system here that once you hit AR 35 or Trailblazer level 35, you actually get more pools along the way. What this means is you want to have your first account be able to do daily commissions, and the moment you can do like daily commissions, you know you can just log in, do your dailies, get a lot of EXP on the day, and then log off. So you are gonna aim to first create as many accounts as you can, and once you do that, you just decide for yourself how much time you have to spare, and then make sure you play the account up to the point you can do your daily commissions and perhaps even clear some of your daily energy and stuff like that. Then just log in through like 1 to 10 and stuff like that, and then just keep going and go as much as you can in terms of the adventure rank rewards. What this means is you will be having like a lot of pools in each and every single one of them, and of course then we will now talk a little bit in terms of like which account is the best and which account is not the best. You can of course maybe keep them as your sub accounts. There's no rules in Hoyo Lab saying that you can't have multiple accounts per person. It of course incentivizes more spending anyway for Hoyo Lab, or Hoyoverse, and so it doesn't really matter. But these are some administration tips that you can even do right now. So don't wait. Like if you are watching this video because you are subscribed already and you are receiving this information before everyone else, go do a little bit of prep. It will save you a lot of time when you want to actually play the game come official launch as well. Now once you have the administration in mind and you are like playing all your different accounts, then comes the perspective of what accounts are better than others. Now this is a very, very big topic in terms of, and a lot of people will debate, like if you like, for example, a male character, of course a male character is going to be far higher up compared to a female character, and so on and so forth. If you like a character design, it'll be higher up, and etc. But I'm going to just be talking about rough in terms of like mixing in statistics as well as probability in terms of what accounts are generally rarer than others. And I think the first things first is, if you have a dumb list, is like if you log into the account and you roll and you start rolling like every single only 4 stars without any 5 stars in your maybe the free pools that you get once the game officially launch, like you do your limited pools, you do the pre-registration pools, and you get absolutely nothing in terms of like total trash, you can consider dumping the account, especially if you are doing like 1 to 10. So if you have like pure 4 stars, just put it as like your low priority here. Like you can see, just leave a remark like maybe no post with a sad face, and then rank it as like the last. You could log in like once a day if you are really free, in terms you have a lot of time to spare, maybe because it's the holidays or you're off work and stuff like that. But I would generally put those categories as the lowest. I don't mean these characters are lousy, okay? Whoever is just like skipping to this point, and you will miss the context of what I'm trying to say. So don't just skip, just try your best just to listen throughout. I'll try to make it as simple as I can. And in terms of probability, the triple S accounts are like kind of common sense in a sense. If you get an early Sealy, or because Zila is the first banner, if you pull her early and you are able to get her maybe within 10 pulls, your first 10 pull, the first thing to do, please don't go and post it and make rub salt in everyone's on Reddit and stuff like that. Go ahead and just mark it off as early Zila account. Put it as your number 1. This account is going to be pretty solid. You can use it on later on, especially because you can build up a lot of pulls already to save for even a Jing Yuan if you want to pull him in the second half, or maybe you are looking for Kafka later on or Silver Wolf. You can of course save for them later on if you got a very early Zila. So that's definitely a triple S tier account. And of course, anything if you have like if let's say it's not early, and let's say it drags out a little bit, and maybe you got it slightly later, like maybe you had to run through some story after you have been progressing for some time, you're maybe towards middle of this chart here already in terms of the Trailblaze level, and perhaps you put like another 5-star, maybe you got a Bronya, you got another 5-star characters like maybe you got Bailu in terms with Zila and stuff like that. You got one of these characters. I do think that if you get any character other than, for example, Yanqing with Zila, definitely I would consider that as a triple S tier account if it's not early enough. And the reason why I say that is Yanqing plus Zila account, you're going to feel that you have too much single target damage. It's going to help you out later on, for example, when you need to split your characters up into 2 in terms of 2 teams for the Memory of Chaos. It's something like the Spiral Abyss Genshin equivalent, but I will find that as probably it will be like a second tier in terms of can keep if you are having like a Zila plus Yanqing kind of combo. So that is the second state of things. And of course, if you have in mind that you don't want to pull Zila because maybe you like Jing Yuan's design way more, and you want to like save up for Jing Yuan to guarantee him, and that is when this saving method and putting a document of remembering what accounts you have is going to be ton of value. Because if you are skipping Zila completely, maybe you don't like her design, you will want to know exactly how much limited pulls that you have saved up in the account through like your dailies and stuff like that you are just logging in one by one each account every single day. So once you have that concept, then in terms of in terms of like a Jing Yuan account, if you want to get Jing Yuan, then you will of course be looking at the other characters on this list who are going to pair really well with him. So I'm just going to put him here. Of course, he's not released in the moment the game starts, but this is to take into perspective like if you want him later on. I think that anyone other than Himiko is going to be a real solid pair to have with him. If you pull basically anyone with him, maybe even like Clara will be down here. In my opinion, I would say like in the middle here, like Clara will be like in the middle of a triple S tier account and can keep, because she does quite a lot of damage on her own and also requires a decent amount of investment, also not as simple to play as like a hyper carry Jing Yuan in my opinion. So I would say like the SS tier, if you pull any of these with your free pulls, would be considering characters that you can keep. Of course, the earlier you get your characters, the more spare pulls you have, the even higher up they will be in terms of like the triple S tier account. So those are like the everyone kind of knows this account is good kind of thing. Let's go like in terms of the middle of a park now, like can keep accounts, and let's assume that you don't get any of the limited characters. You don't get Zila early, you are pulling, you get nothing, and on the limited banner is really bad. So you're wondering, do you just give up on their account, or do you like keep them in your database here and maybe do dailies on them every single day if you can? And I think in that situation, if you don't get Zila or Jing Yuan early, then the main concept is you're going to want to play that account to get these future units here. For example, you can get Blade, Luo Ca in the future if you just log in and do dailies on that account. If you maybe have 5-10 minutes of your time to do dailies. Kafka, Silver Wolf, really strong also, so don't just give up on this account because it doesn't get Zila or you can't save up enough for Jing Yuan in time. So these kind of accounts, let's call it the can keep category. I would say if you get a limited 5-star, just one limited 5-star, not from the beginner banner, you manage to get lucky and you put any of these characters in the in the second, like let's say you have 2 standard 5 stars, I think that account is definitely a keeper. You can keep it, especially you're running long. You can clear content with other 4-star units that you put also, and I'll be clearing content personally free to play on my channel. So if you are like worried how can you clear content, don't worry, just check back at my channel. You'll be able to find how I tackle content, and you can just like copy my builds and copy the template and save up your pools for characters that you wanna pull as well. Don't just like give up on the account. I think that's the second situation. 2 standard 5 stars, no limited 5 stars would be an example of a character of an account that you can keep, and that is because you have in mind that you want to just log into dailies to get your future units as well. And in terms of like, for example, maybe you get 1 from the beginner banner already once you hit your 50 pulls on the beginner banner, the discounted one, but now you don't seem to be getting anything else. Let's just talk a little bit about that. I think a character that can go the long run is, if you're just playing this account just to log in and do dailies, you want to look for non-DPSs. So any non-DPS, like for example, you see these 5 characters here. If you have any of these 5 characters, generally I would say that account is a keeper. Why? Or maybe Clara, like here, if you have Bronya, if you have Welt, and in terms of like priority, or Bailu, Gepard, or Clara, I would say that this account will already be a keeper, especially if you are going for the long run. This is not going to be your main account, maybe it's like one of your sub accounts. You can play it for a little bit and see whether you get lucky, but if you only get these from the beginner banner, nothing from standard so far, and maybe you have in mind taking a DPS, for example, you have Blade in mind, you want Kafka later on, or maybe you like Silver Wolf, you definitely can consider just keeping, for example, one of the standard supports, because it's very flexible. You can have any DPS later on, and don't worry, in terms of like Honkai style turn-based games, power creep comes pretty quickly compared to other Genshin Impact like 3D world, kind of open world kind of games where there's much more permutations and combinations. Turn-based games generally have very new DPSs that will come out very quickly, so not to worry. And if you have a lineup of like pure defensive supportive characters, I find it's going to be like tons of value. So keep those, don't re-roll them. And of course, let's talk a bit about the mid-tier ones. If you, for example, you don't get Zealer, you really like Zealer, or maybe you really want Jingyuan, but you did like 40-50 pulls in after you are very deep into the game and you still don't see any of them, and maybe you are not super wanting him and you just want to know whether you can keep the account, I think a pretty mid account at that point, like you're already almost done with Zealer's patch, you have done a lot of pulls but you're not getting anything, you just have maybe Himiko or Yanqing. I think that this account is like relatively mid, because even if you pull, for example, Jingyuan in the second half, you will be left with an account like that. And I don't think this is not the worst account, but I would say it's pretty mid. You can get by, does a lot of damage. There are many teams that are available, I've done on the channel. You can just search out any of these characters and you'll find build guides for them in terms of team compositions already. And I'll be doing build guides for the characters come official launch. So like those are some thoughts in terms of my perspective. Of course, this is an unbiased view. I can't like every single character equally and know how each of you are feeling. So for example, if you really like Himiko, then of course bump her up into a SS tier account. If you really like Yanqing, and go ahead and bump him up. This is like from a neutral point of view, for anyone who just wants to have a neutral market perspective on what is like the logical way of doing things and running things. But regardless of your choice, I'm here to support you in your journey. I've done a tier list if you want to know more information on what differentiates these 5-star characters, or perhaps you want to know how to build teams for any of them. I've already done team composition guides on the channel. Go ahead and check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.